Good evening and welcome to another episode of Chats with Chantla. So tonight we have an amazing, inspiring entrepreneur that we're going to hear her story and her journey into entrepreneurship. Tonight we have Tiana Newsom. Thank you so much for joining, and you are the owner of Newsom Home Care LLC, correct?
Correct. Yes. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. This has been a while. We've been trying to plan this, and you've been working, getting your business established and open and hiring and doing so many behind the scenes to be such a great provider in the area. So I know a lot of people have shared. You have a huge support system, and so many people shared the flyer of the show announcement, and they definitely want to hear your story. So a lot of people, Tiana, want to know, why do you do what you do?
So as a little girl, I always knew that the calling on my life was to help people. I just wasn't sure who it was to help. Growing up, I knew that I was either going to be a state police officer or I was going to own a home care agency. God led me to the agency. This is where we're at.
Wow. I can't believe that. We have something in common. I wanted to be a state police officer when I was younger as well. And that changed when I realized people didn't have the same level of respect for police officers as I did. And I was like, oh, that may not be for me. But I understand when you have different callings and you feel you're pulled to different purposes, it can be definitely difficult or challenging to choose, but God definitely will reveal that. So thank you for sharing why you do what you do. So Kiara, she's here and she's sending you some love and she's watching and supporting you tonight on Chats with Chantla. This is a platform where I highlight primarily Black entrepreneurs that are doing and making big impact in their communities and other people's lives as well as their own. So it's not just for Black and brown entrepreneurs, but that is my primary. So to get exposed, I work with all entrepreneurs to build, connect, and collaborate. And Tiana is one. And I'm so excited for you to be here tonight. So we're going to keep this amazing conversation going. In the beginning, Tiana, what motivated you to become an entrepreneur?
So it sounds kind of cliche, but my son. So I have a 5-year-old son. And when he was born, I said, if God gave me my son, then I would move to be able to provide for him in a way that I couldn't have had him. So I played and I toggled with it and I kept saying, oh, I'm going to open. I actually told Minister Natalie at church, I said, I'm going to open a home care agency. I told her and her daughter, Asia, that sometime in 2019, 2020, COVID happened. I was sitting in my living room without telling anyone. I applied for the LLC. So my son, and now I guess you'd say all 3 of my boys, were the push that it ended up pushing me into entrepreneurship.
Wonderful. I think that is so amazing because 2020 was very unique year for us, a very challenging year for us, but it set us down, but it also revealed a lot to us. Do you feel that in that, with having your first, your 5-year-old, that motivated you, but then getting married and having 2 additional sons, how did that feel for you? Like when you said you thought about it, but like in the midst of a pandemic, how much more important was it to you?
It was extremely important. I remember telling my sisters and brothers, like, what is taking so long? Like, I started getting impatient because the state, everything was moving so slow. And once I got my feet wet and I applied, I was just like ready to go. So everything with this business takes its time. And I was just ready to go. My boys, my husband is an amazing supporter. So I was just ready.
I know, that is so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for joining us, Tiara, this evening on Memorial Day. I know y'all could be at the cookouts, you could be grubbing. So I'm glad that you stopped your day to come in and support Chats with Chantla with our featured entrepreneur, Tiana Newsom. And Tiana, I just think that what you just said is so inspiring and so helpful to people who are thinking about what should I do and how do I do it and have the patience to do it. But when you think about becoming an entrepreneur, a lot of times we have multiple talents and skills. What made you choose healthcare though?
My grandma. So she ended up in a nursing home, what we thought was temporary, it then became permanent, and she doesn't mind. It's her home. She loves it. We could get her to come home if we wanted to now, but I didn't want anybody else to ever go through that. I said, I want to be able to make sure that when my mom and dad end up needing those services, they don't end up in a nursing home. Or if one of my friends, their parents end up needing those services, or someone in the community, we can keep them home with our services and still be able to be in the comfort of their own home.
Okay, so great. I know you do home care services. So if you're just now joining in, we have Tiana Newsom, and she is the owner of Newsom Home Care LLC. And so home care services are a lot. And I don't want to assume everybody knows what that means, but what makes yours different? Like, I know you said keeping them home, because when you think of a nursing home, what's the difference between home care and a nursing home?
So nursing home, obviously you have limited hours where you can see them. Right now, I know that it's like 15 minutes. You get in there to visit them, 15 to 20 minutes, and they are on it because of COVID. At home, you still have the comfort of visiting your family member whenever you want. Obviously, with COVID, you want to take the precautions that the state is giving us. Make sure you're wearing proper PPE, gloves, mask. If you feel sick, stay away from your family member who have complications. But the difference is that we still can provide all those services at home, and still get them out to the doctors, to the dentist, to things, grocery shopping, transportation, things like that. But they're not leaving their home permanently.
I love that. And I think that's also a safety for someone who does need services like yours, to be able to be in a place that's familiar for them. Because I can imagine the level possible, and I'll keep it on the eye, that as an aging adult who may need home care services, where going into a new place would be kind of like heighten my anxiety somewhat, because you have to relearn, you're sharing space that used to be just your space. And so it can be a lot different, and you're learning people's patterns and behaviors, and you have like staff that, changes. And it could be really challenging to get to a place of safety and comfort. So when you think about home care, and you were thinking about it, the concept of home care is one thing, but how did you come up with the concept for yours, to make it maybe stand out or be different than what's already existing out there?
So I like to think that we provide the best home care. And I know everybody says that, but I make sure that I'm reaching out to my clients once a week. Myself or my assistant, we go, make sure we're visiting. We go together most of the time when staff is working and when staff isn't working. Sometimes a client may be nervous to tell you that something's happening that they don't like or they don't approve of when staff is there. So we're constantly just reaching out to the client, family of the client, to make sure that what is happening is appropriate, and to make sure that we're providing the care that they would like and need.
Awesome. I love that. Going that extra step is really important to me. That's giving outstanding customer service. And that's also building trusting relationships where people would want you to stay as their provider, and also refer your services to other people in need. So I think that's a great, and you kind of touched base on some of these services or specialties that you do. What are some other things? You said doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, and even taking them grocery shopping. Is there any other specialties or services that you provide?
We do. We help with like basic house cleaning, toileting, meal preparation, things like that inside of the home. But our basic needs outside are making sure they're at each doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, and things like that.
Wonderful. And how is that challenging to do with, all the different regulations that are going on right now?
It is difficult because you don't have the proper staffing right now. Hiring, it's hit and miss right now, but I've been blessed. The staff that I have, they really come through. They love what they do. Obviously, I don't get many call-offs, and when I do, we're a team. My girls know that in order to keep them, I need to treat them how I would like to be treated when I was someone's employee. So when my girls call off, it's usually for an emergency. And at that point, if I'm available and I have a sitter or daycare is open, I go to work because we're a team. So
I love that because it's not, I think people sometimes think like being an entrepreneur and self-employed, it means that it's easy. Like it's a less of a hassle than your 9 to 5 working for somebody else. And that is not the case. And you just described it. If somebody calls off, you have to jump in. Not only are you a mom, you're a wife, and then you're a business owner. So that is not the easiest thing to do because normally emergencies aren't scheduled. So they could be in the middle of the night, early morning, in the middle of you doing something yourself. So it's a lot to be a business owner and operate a successful business, knowing that you depend on other people and emergencies happen. So kudos to you because that's not the easiest thing. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Deshaun. He is just cheering for you and he's applauding you and he totally understands. He was on Chats with Chantla as well. And then also Rashad, thank you so much for joining. He says you rock T. So just if any of you who are watching tonight's episode of Chats with Chantla and you're joining in, if you have a question for Tiana, please put it in the comments and I will ask her that question on your behalf, and it'll also pop up on the screen so you can engage with tonight's conversation. But we're going to continue this amazing, inspiring conversation as well because Tiana, at any point in time as an entrepreneur, when those emergencies happen, do you ever question yourself like, what did I get myself into?
Kiera is my assistant. She can probably vouch. It happens about 4 days out of 7. I usually say, what was I thinking? My husband can tell you there's nights where I'm up in this office until 2, 3 in the morning, billing, doing something, working on the schedule, asking myself, well, what was I thinking? Or, oh my goodness, I just accepted another client. Am I going to be able to prepare and staff properly? But it's happening. It might take a while, but it's definitely happening.
I love that. And then what areas do you provide your services in?
So we started out just providing care to Fayette and Greene County. And now we are servicing Fayette, Greene, Washington, Westmoreland, and Allegheny.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is huge in such a short period of time. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. That is huge. Crystal is also watching and she said super proud of you. And I know she is. She is a huge supporter. Someone who she's a great supporter of anybody. If you're doing it, she's going to support you. But I love that she's here watching tonight. We appreciate you. So as I agree, Tiana, she's like, wow, that's great. How did you expand that quickly?
So actually, I just started expanding about 2 weeks ago. I got called for a client. I said, oh, I don't really service Washington County. And then I text Kiera and I said, I'm just going to go for it. And we just went for it.
Wow. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith. That was a lot of faith because that, and then, okay, so that was 5 counties, I think you said?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how, in the duration, how did that happen? Because it wasn't like you've been doing this for years.
No. So Crystal is actually one of my biggest supporters and she literally walks me through everything. So she keeps me calm when my head's literally.
Shout out to Crystal. I agree.
So but I definitely, I don't know. The clients are coming through with COVID right now. Agencies are short staffed. We're all short staffed. Where a lot of agencies weren't working together, we are learning to work together. I say God is bringing us all together for a reason, but we're learning to work together and we're learning to help each other. You got to be ready to accept a client anywhere right now. We don't have clients in Allegheny County and we don't have any in Westmoreland, but we just accept one in Washington and Greene, and we have Fayette as well. So yeah.
I know. I follow your page on Facebook and I saw that when you put like you're hiring for Point Mary and I was like, you go. So I think that is so amazing. Again, congratulations to you and your team. Thank you so much for watching, Natalie. And she's like, awesome, Tiana. So I think you, like I said, you have an amazing support system. They're here, they're supporting you, they're just giving you kudos. And I just want to definitely congratulate you. Also, I want to keep this conversation going so people can learn more about what you do as a provider and also as an entrepreneur. But you touched a little bit on it earlier, but how do you keep the patients informed about their loved ones' progress?
So when we go out and we do a meet and greet, the client, if they are well enough and they do not have a POA, they delegate someone that we can talk to on their behalf if they aren't competent in that moment. Most of my clients that I've been blessed with, they understand their health, their progress. But I do reach out to them on a weekly basis. Some of them have sisters or brothers or a nephew or a niece that I reach out to. We try to contact them at least once a week just to say, hey, this person's doing okay, or hey, Joe's doing okay, just to let them know that we're there. If anything extra is needed, let us know, because even though they have these family members, they may not even be local. So we just are trying to make sure that everybody's staying in touch to make sure we're providing the care that we promise.
I agree. I think patients' families probably, I would definitely appreciate that, because you are definitely going the extra step. And especially if I'm not close to them, you're always concerned. And the service that you do with your amazing staff would definitely bring peace of mind to that. But also, I agree with Crystal. Someone who speaks in the already done. I speak in the already. So when I pray and I speak, it's already done. And so she says, keep going. Don't say that you don't have them. Say them that you're going to have them. So say that you're going to have them, speak it. And so it does bring life and manifest into the reality. And Crystal, thank you so much for she's always been like that, and to have her on your team, Tiana, that is such a blessing. And so many other people like Kiara, and then you said Natalie and your husband. I mean, you have such an amazing, strong support system. And, they're here now. As you grow, continue to keep that support system as you get bigger and bigger, because you're definitely going to need them as your home care continues to grow. But you spoke about COVID and how it has impacted so many of us. So how has COVID changed in the field that you work in? Like, how is it changing how you handle any type of medical emergencies or the staff and patients that you have?
So it hasn't really affected how we handle an emergency. In an emergency, we're going to handle it the same way that we would have before COVID. The client comes first. So COVID goes out the window. We make sure we call 911. We then contact the family. 911 always comes first. But it does affect how we prepare to go into a client's home, because we're coming from our own homes and they're in their own home. We don't know what may be going on there when we're not there, and they don't know what we're doing before we come to their home. So we make sure our girls have proper PPE, gloves, masks, the gowns if they need them. We haven't had to go that far yet, but just make sure that they have all of the proper attire, cleaning supplies to make sure that they can disinfect and sanitize while they're there.
Absolutely. And it's also a way that you want to keep your staff safe. It's not just the family that you're providing services to. You want to keep your staff safe, because if you show that you're providing and you're keeping your staff safe, that makes, at least it would make me want to work for you, and it would want to make me come to work every day and report. If I don't feel safe, then I'm not going to go. So all the steps that you're doing, not only to keep your patient safe, you're keeping your staff safe. And I just think that's commendable, because a lot of people, and I shouldn't say a lot of people because I don't know, but it's just becoming generalized that, oh, COVID's not that bad. It is still here. It's still here. People are still being impacted by it. Some people are still dying on a daily basis from this virus. But I love what you said in regard to making the safety for your patients and also your staff. And so we have some other people cheering you on. And Trey, thank you so much for watching. And he just gives you kudos, and he's applauding that all the effort and the work that you're doing as an entrepreneur. But also, I want to ask the question, because it's a lot of times difficult, because it's so easy for people to talk and patient information to get out, not intentionally. But so how do you maintain the privacy and dignity of the patients that you work with?
So the staff, as well as myself and my assistant, we know that the client's name and any information other than what is you got to go to work should not leave outside of that client's house or the phone conversation that we're having. Your boyfriend or girlfriend should not know whose home you're working in. Even if you live with them, they shouldn't know. They shouldn't know the address. We have to follow, as a home care agency, we have to follow every HIPAA guideline that you would follow at a doctor's office, and we maintain their privacy that way. I can't, just because you call and say so-and-so's sister, I can't talk to you without his or her knowledge. And without them giving me that okay, and not just verbally written, because some of our clients are dementia and that they forget that they told me that I could tell you something. So I need it written down in that client's file that I have permission to speak with you about that client.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think that it's very important because it's easy to say, my client did this and then to say who it is. And you could be having this open conversation and a family member could be in this and that, in space to be able to hear. And then you're sharing different information. And also you're in someone's home and the property that's inside the home as well. You want to make sure that you're keeping yourself safe and then also that patient when you're there and when you're not there. So if you're just now joining Chats with Chantla, this is an amazing platform for entrepreneurs to be highlighted who are making big impact in their community and their lives and the lives of others. So we have this platform where we get to build, connect, and collaborate. But tonight we have Tiana Newsom, and she is the owner of Newsom Home Care LLC. And so she provides home care services to aging adults, also children under the age of 18 with disabilities. And she does a plethora of so many different services in 5 different counties. So if you have a loved one that needs some services, you need to connect with her and be able to connect with her and her staff and be able to get your loved ones the proper and safe care that they do need. And we're learning so much about her as a person, but also as an entrepreneur. So Tiana, I know that I see you on Facebook, but what are other ways that you market your business?
So my biggest marketing right now is word of mouth. I have multiple clients and all of them except one has come from word of mouth. I started with one client and they took off from there. Between other agencies who know me, friends that I went to school with who own agencies calling me, things like that. Most of it is word of mouth. We do have a website, which is www.newsomshomecare.com. We do have a Facebook page that you see me on there advertising often. And I am on my own Facebook, of course. But we have business cards, we have flyers out. But I would say our biggest thing right now is word of mouth.
Wow. Well, I think if someone's saying word of mouth and you're getting a lot from word of mouth, that says a lot. It says a lot about the care that you're providing because people aren't going to speak about something that they wouldn't validate, back up, or even have said, okay, yeah, I know someone who they're providing service to, and this is what they're talking about. So word of mouth is one of the strongest ways that you could definitely get referrals, but I think it's amazing. But yeah, Crystal, I'm sorry that he's trying to comment and it won't allow him. So your husband would like to comment and it's not allowing to do. So Crystal, if you want to be his liaison and advocate and do that for him, it would be greatly appreciated. But we definitely don't want Clarence. Is that his name?
That's his name.
Absolutely. We don't want him to be neglected or left out because I know he's a huge support. So Clarence, get someone to comment for you and we can get this up here. Again, if you have a comment for Tiana or a question, put it in the comments and we'll be able to get it up here on the screen and get her response from that. But Tiana, I know you said this earlier and this is not a question that I kind of prepped you for, but you talked a lot about passion and purpose. How does your passion and purpose play in the quality of work that you give out?
Sometimes it's my weakness, because I care so much. Not only just like in this field, but in life in general. Anybody who knows me, if they're watching, they can tell you I will support you and be there for you until, even when I shouldn't be, I still will be. It's just who I am as a person. I'm always giving and wanting to give back to the community and other people. In my field that I'm in, though, it allows me to see things from another person's point of view, from another family's point of view, step back and wonder if it was my family member, what would I want for them? What kind of care would I want them to have? And that's what allows me to make sure my staff is properly trained and ready for the case that we're accepting before we accept it.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Another question I have for you is hiring, as you said earlier, is a challenge. In that process of even if you had an abundance of people that were looking to be hired, you still have to go through a lot of different stages to get the right candidate. So how hiring for you and your business happening. So what's that process been like for you?
It's been challenging. You may get someone to say that they're coming for an interview at 1 o'clock. They don't show up. Um, but it's also been good. We've held open interviews at Deshawn's restaurant right now, and he's been great about it. He's an amazing friend, and we do get interviews. And like I said, staff that we've got so far, every one of our clients have staff that doesn't usually change on them every day. I don't change my staff to for a client every day, and they're great. The girls are great. They come through even when have a call off, they still come through. Now, granted, I do a lot for my staff. I offer incentives and things like that to get them to pick up a shift, but it's something that I would expect if I was still working every day. And even though I'm behind this desk, I'm still one of them. I've done what they've done, and that's how I know so much about it.
Absolutely. I love that. So that's what I love about being in a town where you know people, you can collaborate. Having a location to be able to do an open house for hiring is amazing. Thank you so much for Deshawn for doing that. He was a featured entrepreneur on Chantla. If you have not seen Reflections, has some amazing food and drinks. I wish I was still back home because I'd be having those frozen drinks that I see people having. So I would have been up there supporting you. You'd be like, Chantla, you're here for a job. I'd be like, no, I'm supporting you and I'm eating. So I would have been supporting both of you at that time. But I want to share what your husband said. He said that he is so proud of you and how far you have came to say that you were going to start a home care business and you didn't keep going, your husband. That is so, don't give me yes from me. We all need a Clarence. We all need a Clarence. Okay. And I'm so thankful for you, Clarence, for just sticking with her, because not everybody has the proper support system to want to take that next step forward. You can have somebody that's close to you in your own home being the naysayer, being the person who's telling you you're going to fail. So I appreciate Clarence, and I appreciate him being that support to help you go as hard as you're going and to keep moving forward, because you're impacting so many people's lives, Tiana, not just as an employer, but as a provider. You're giving the service that you're providing with your amazing staff are giving peace of mind to people who need services for their loved ones, or if it's them themselves, they need these services and they need this help. So, you reap what you sow, and what you're putting out there is going to be something very amazing coming back to you. So thank you again, because it's not easy. Anybody who's worked in home care or is thinking about working in home care, you better really think about it, because that is not a 9-to-5 where you're sitting behind a desk and you're working on a computer. It is definitely not that. So you have to have the right heart and the right mind to be able to do that. So thank you, Tiana, for just preparing your staff to be able to go in the work field, the workforce in this field, and being able to do it successfully. So as you speak about the pandemic and all the support that you've had, how has it impacted, not just you hiring, but also how you're able to properly place people into the homes that people are calling about that have your services in?
So the pandemic is exactly what it is, a pandemic. We work with the staff that we have. We make sure they're compatible. My girls know if they are not compatible with a client, let me know. If the client knows that if they don't feel that they're going to be compatible with the staff, let me know. Make some changes. We need both people to be comfortable, not just the client. We need staff to be comfortable, because if staff isn't comfortable, they don't want to work. So the client and the staff know I'm here to hear from them, and they do call all hours of the night, and that's fine. That's what I'm here for. But I need both parties to be comfortable so that we can make it work.
Absolutely. So now, I think it would be challenging for me if I was had a business in a town that I grew up in and know a lot of people, because now you're different. You're not just a friend or someone they see. You're now their employer. You're now their boss. Have you found it difficult in hiring candidates that you may know, even be related to? And if so, yes or no, and why?
It is. It's extremely hard. And I've had some people that I've had to let go for that reason, just so that we don't ruin a friendship. Because once you sign your name and I start signing your paycheck, I'm your boss. So I'm not going to be okay with the fact that you don't show up for work. Um, and I probably let it go more than I should have. But in certain situations, I just have to. I've had to, and now actually, when I interview, or I make Kiera interview, I say I let them know from the beginning. Like I'm in Fayette County, so Uniontown. I know almost everyone. My family's a big family on both sides, but I do let them know that I am not the team that you or when we're not here. Right now, I'm your boss, and that's exactly how I'm going to. It's the role.
Girl, I commend you. I do, because it's so easy for people to remember you as one way, and that's how they interact with you. And then also too, you're young. So you may be hiring people that are my age or older, or your mom's age or whatever. And it's not the easiest thing for people to be like, "Girl, I used to watch you," or, things like that. And so you definitely have to separate business from personal, and, because they can't come into play in the same way, in the same space, because if so, it's going to get blurred. It's going to be messy. And so I'm glad that you are strong enough to separate the two, and then be like, okay, I'm going to have to let you go because I want what we have outside of work to continue. Right. So we definitely have to, and that you're a strong individual for doing that. You're very strong. I just want to shout out some people who are here supporting you. You have Miss Marcia. Hi, and how are you? Thank you so much for joining. We have LaKayla, and she is watching as well. We have Maurice. And I'm, he's here and he's like, he's sorry for being late, but he's stopped work. One of my favorite people are watching, and it just warms me from the inside out. Miss Carol, she is love you. That's all I can say is I love you, and God bless. I just love you, and thank you so much for supporting and watching. And again, Crystal, I didn't even see your comment, but she is right on. Separate the business from the personal. That is absolutely 100%. If you said it, Tiana, and if anybody doesn't get anything from this conversation, that is one thing that you have to do. And Tiana, that is not easy, because you want to help people. Because, we're both from the Fayette County area. We're both from Fayette County. We're both from the Uniontown area. And a lot of people, and you want to help people, because jobs are not, there's not a lot. You either work for the hospital or the corner in most cases. So to branch out to do something to help someone, what people don't realize is, like, for Tiana to give you a job in home care and under her name, and she's validating for you that you can go into someone's home, that is not the easiest thing to do, and it's not always the safest thing to do. So Tiana, for you to be able to do that is like, because you're giving someone a lifeline. You're putting food in their house. You're giving them money to be able to pay their bills. So anyone who is thinking about working for a friend or somebody because you grew up in the same area, don't come to them like, oh, I know you. No, what you need to remember is you remember me when I am different now. My position has changed. I've matured. There's growth. So don't come to me in the same way. Just because we're from the same place does not mean I'm the same person. So, I think sometimes people, Tiana, for you, because I would think to myself, one of the most challenging things would be you just hiring people younger and older than you. Mm-hmm. And then people who and, who you win. Can you help me? And I'm like, okay, yeah, she wants to help you, but are you willing to help yourself? So being an employer, and I'd rather probably be an employer in a town that no one knows me and think that, but it's a blessing for you to be also an employer in a place that someone knows you, because it's also comfort that someone can come to you and can ask for an interview and have that. So you just have, an amazing talent and a very compassionate heart, not just for what you do, but how you're gaining the right team to be able to work for you and be able to do the things that you're doing. What did Crystal say? Crystal said, you want to have that heart to help others, but at the same time, you don't want to let your business go under by always allowing them to use you because they know you. Amen. And you know that, Tiana, but not Miss Newsom, the business owner. So yes, but I love that. I love that. And that's great advice. And again, she's on your team. You have an amazing squad. Let me just say that. Not only is Crystal on your team, she's a family member. So she's grown up And we both love her. So again, she's doing her thing too. Can't wait to get her on Chapter Chantla to collaborate as well. But Tiana, I also want to know, how has your background influenced your business?
So this is what I've been doing since I got out of high school. I immediately went and got my CNA. I've been in the nursing field ever since I graduated in 2009. I just did some personal care after that. In 2013, I decided to get my CNA, and I was working at Mount Macrina up until 2018 when I had my second son. I went to LPN school, got pregnant, but and then I went back to Mount Macrina. So I mean, I've been doing this forever. So that's why I don't mind getting my feet wet on days where there's call offs. I don't always like it, but I don't mind it because I know what I'm doing and I know what the client needs and I know what to expect going on.
Wow. And that's another thing I love about it, is because you're not just placing people in a role that you haven't done yourself, you've done it. Yes. And so you can advise them, you can support them, you can encourage them, you can lead them. So there's all these things under the umbrella that you have as an employer that I think a lot of people would appreciate. But sometimes it's hard to take advice from someone who's never done it. And you're like, you never did this. So but there's a greater appreciation and respect for those who have actually done what they're hiring you to do or positioning you to be able to do. But I have a few more questions for you. But what I want to ask you right now is, if you were able to give a first-time entrepreneur or a seasoned entrepreneur some advice on how to keep, being motivated to move forward, what would you tell them?
Go for it. Just keep going. It's not always going to be easy. You're going to want to throw in the towel a whole bunch of times. Just keep going. It's worth it. Doing this, I've been able to give my kids a life that I could only imagine as a kid. Keep pushing. It'll pay off in the long run. And you'll look back one day and be like, I'm glad I kept going.
I love that. So if you're just now joining in to this episode of Chats with Chantla, I have Tiana Newsom. She is the owner of Newsom Home Care LLC, and she provides in-home healthcare services to loved ones in 5 different counties, Fayette County being one. And she's been just sharing her story of inspiration, encouragement, not just as an entrepreneur, but as a person. And I love that because she has an amazing heart. She has an inspiring story. She continues to keep going. She does the extra mile, and I think that's why she's so blessed and successful in what she's doing. So if you have just joined and you want to hit the replay button so you can hear her inspiring story from the beginning. Also, if you are somebody who has a loved one that is in need of in-home care service, please contact her. And you can reach her at www.newsomhomecare.com. And where's the other locations that people can connect with you, Tiana?
We do have a Facebook page, and we do have a phone number that you can text, you can call, anything you would like to do. It is 724-425-6017.
So here is the telephone number, 724-425-6017. And what is the Facebook page name?
It is Newsom's Home Care LLC.
So we don't want to assume that everybody knows. So we want to make sure that you can follow her and her staff on Facebook at Newsom Home Care LLC. Very easy. It's her name. And you put the field that she works in. But, I just think that it's amazing what you're doing. Also, I want Natalie said, keep going, Tiana, you rock. And I think that's amazing. And then also your husband said, I second that, ain't no giving up. Clarence, you were going to make her blush. You're going to make her tear up as well. But that's totally fine. I love it. I love the fact that you have such a supporting husband. It's amazing. It's amazing to see. It makes me smile from the inside out. And I appreciate you so much. Okay, he said, can you state again if you have already in what services you provide? So Maurice just joined in. And I don't know if your name's Maurice or Jeremy first. I apologize. I'm so sorry if I'm saying this wrong, but he wanted to know what are some of the services that you provide?
So we provide your basic home care needs such as housekeeping, meal preparation, bathing, toileting, cleaning, of course. We do offer some transportation to and from the doctors, the dentist, grocery shopping, and things like that.
You girl, and I did not know that you have been doing this since 2009. I mean, that is
I've been working in the home care field since '09. Yeah.
wow. That is amazing. And then you went into business for yourself. What was the one besides your kids? What was the moving factor for you to say I want to do this for on my own?
I didn't want to be anybody's employee anymore. I've always said I want to be the boss. And
Okay.
here it is.
I love that. There ain't nothing wrong. I think so many times people, when you say that, so many people misinterpret that as arrogance. That is confidence in the skill and the ability that she has. So when you hear somebody say that, don't assume they're saying it out of arrogance. They're skilled. They feel like they can provide that. And I don't care if there are 10 home care services or agencies in the one area. You could be working in a saturated area, but if that's your purpose and that's your passion, go for it. As she said, what are you waiting for? Do what you love. And that's going to be seen in the quality of work that you give. And also just be obedient to what it is that you want to do and what God's called you to do. And Tiana has done that. And I just think that, as she had stated, she has not been. So how long has your business been up and running? So people get an idea.
We have been legally up and running since June 22nd, 2020. We did not start taking clients until April the 16th of 2021, in which we had 4 clients in 2 days.
Wow.
And we now service 11 clients, and it's only been about a month.
So you literally started in April, because it's May here. You have 11 clients in 30 days.
Yes.
Wow.
We're 2 more tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yeah. I just have to smile because you're like 2 more. That is amazing. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Trey said, you can hear the compassion you have for it. It's so hard to find people who genuinely want to care for people. I love it, and keep going, keep going. And I just think that he said, keeping on. Sorry. But I think that Trey, I couldn't agree with you 100%. Because Tiana, you do. We hear it. Not only that, like you said, anybody who knows you, I have never been around you where you weren't smiling, where you weren't servicing somebody, where you weren't, just, doing so much in regards to giving of yourself, like literally since you were a young girl. And I just think that that's amazing. And, we're so proud of you. Thank you so much, Ty's. Like, I'm, proud of you. She's amazing too. So I appreciate her for supporting and watching. And then Natalie did say, can you also state if you only cover certain, I don't know what that means, MEFI. I'm not sure. Natalie, I don't know what that certain MEFI stands for, but maybe it was a typo, but maybe she's, we're going to wait for her to clarify. I'm not going to speak for her, but because I don't want to have you misquote her thought. So, but again, tell us the different areas. She said, one second, can you also state if you cover only certain medical insurance providers, or do you cover all? Thank you, Natalie.
I thought that's what she meant. So we do cover, Natalie. We are accepting UPMC. We are accepting Pennsylvania Health and Wellness now, and we are accepting AmeriHealth. So we are basically accepting everything except Keystone currently.
Okay. All right. You heard it. Like, you heard it first. Like, that when you watch Chantla, you're getting it from the entrepreneur themselves. You're getting it from the person who owns the business, who's running the business, who's also working the business. And so you're getting, if you have questions, you can ask while we're live, or you can go back into the comments, and Tiana and myself Tiana will go back and ask those specific questions in regards to the field that she works in. But if you're an entrepreneur and you want to collaborate on Chantla, that's a great way to put yourself in the comments. I can reach out. But Tiana, I'm going to take myself off the screen for just a moment. I am not leaving you. but I saw you, your face like, no, you didn't, Chantla. But I want people to focus on your last words. And I want your last words to be with, as you already slightly provided brief encouragement, but some more encouragement and advice for those who are thinking about stepping into the journey of entrepreneurship, those who are working in it, and those who are thinking about jumping completely out of it and they want to quit. What would you say to them, giving them some words of encouragement?
So, if I had anything to say at all, it would be follow your dreams. You're not going to get people who you know to support you all the time. Majority of the time, it's going to be someone you don't know who's going to be your biggest supporter. Your dream that you're dreaming right now, or if you're already doing this, it can be your reality. So I would just focus on that. Stay true to yourself. Pray about it. That's my biggest thing. I always go back to is your faith needs to be strong when going into this. And if you do, you will be successful. It might not look like it right away, but it will come to pass.
I love that. Very short and sweet. You have some more questions, and there'll probably be other questions that will generate after the live. But Natalie did ask the question, do you service home care? I think it's in the VA system.
Yes.
Okay, absolutely. So she's telling you all that Newsom Home Care LLC provides in the areas it provides. Also, she has a strong support system. Your assistant, Kiera, she is amazing. She said, so proud of you. You got this. She said, see you Thursday and love you. So, Tiana, thank you so much for this amazing collaboration with me on Chats with Chantla. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for allowing us to learn more about you as an entrepreneur, because people cannot support what they do not know. If you're an entrepreneur and nobody knows that you're one, that is nobody's responsibility but your own, and that's nobody's fault but your own. You have to open your mouth. You have to get on the platform such as this, and you have to advocate for yourself. And not just Chats with Chantla, but there's all these other platforms, and there's other people that are supporting you. And if they don't know, then that's another problem. But open your mouth and make sure that people know that you're an entrepreneur so that we can support you. So thank you again for joining this episode of Chats with Chantla, where we build, connect, and collaborate. And Tiana, thank you so much for joining me. We have Tiana Newsom. She is the owner of Newsom Home Care LLC. Make sure you follow her at www.newsomhomecare.com. You can follow her Facebook page at Newsom Home Care as well. Tiana, it's been a pleasure learning more about you as an entrepreneur. Thanks again for joining me on an episode of Chats with Chantla.